From the government shutdown, to infrastructure, to economic development, to his own future, I sit down exclusively with Columbia City Mayor Steve Benjamin for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on the free Quintin's Close-Ups iHeartRadio podcast. Mayor Steve Benjamin, it's so good to see you.
In Washington, the one and only. I'm glad to be here, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be back in my second home.
Yeah, man. You always have a home here.
Thank you.
That.
Thank you greatly.
Always.
I appreciate it. Well, I did my annual ritual, which is run from the State House down here. Celeste Davis was giving me a tour of the House of Representatives, and I realized it was 2:45, and I had to be here at 3, so I'm running down Main Street.
I knew you'd be here. So that's all good.
Here I am. And as I was walking into the main entrance, I noticed, obviously, the billboard that says the vision statement. Sitting here right now as Mayor of Columbia, what is your vision for the city in 2019?
Sure. Well, our vision has been consistent and clear, and I get teased by folks locally for being repetitive. But our goal is to be the most talented, educated, and entrepreneurial city in America. We want to create a city that speaks not to just where we've come from or where we are, but where we want to be. We want to create an environment where every one of our citizens has an opportunity to do the great things we know God has in store for them. We have to make sure we have a good, strong, safe city. We have to make sure we have a clean city. We have to make sure that we're working closely with our partners in education, give our children the tools that they need to be successful in life, and give our parents the tools that they need to participate in a rapidly changing economy. The future of work is completely uncertain with automation, artificial intelligence, right, and advanced manufacturing, and advanced machine learning. Sure. The world's changing. So how do we continuously work, continuously iterate to create a city that folks can prosper in? And that requires work. That requires people working together, working across party lines, and always thinking forward.
You talk about education. I was just interviewing Gilda Cobb-Hunter and Celeste Davis about education and how they're dealing with that in the House of Representatives. Where is the city of Columbia right now when you think of the state of education?
Yeah, we have. I often tell people we love to criticize education or even rank our rankings sometimes, and we all obviously want to be high in things that we're low in. And low in some of the things that we're high in. When you talk about health indicators and the like. But the reality is that we have quality school buildings. We've invested heavily in all the school districts around here, with Richland 1, Richland 2, Lexington, Richland 5. Right. We have high quality teachers. We have fantastic educators who dedicated their lives to making sure our children can find their gift and then turn that gift into something special. Our challenge is we still have a disproportionate number of our children who go to school not ready to learn because they're dealing with too many other adult issues. They're worried about issues that I didn't have to worry about. They're worried about safety and security, where their next meal is coming from. They haven't had the opportunity or health insurance to go see a physician. So they're in 5th grade. They've never seen a doctor. They have cavities running out their mouth. We've got to make sure that we're working together to create an environment where our children can prosper and they can focus on getting educated. So children don't fail. Schools don't fail. Society fails our children. And we've got to do a better job making sure we wrap up our children with the tools that they need to be successful.
Personally, how do we get here with that? With society not really helping those kids?
It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It requires all of us, obviously, always being willing to work together, speaking to our better angels, realizing that we've come a long way, but we're certainly not where we need to be. We have to make some really good strategic investments in keeping good teachers in the classroom, and continue to invest, of course, in technology, recognizing that all of our children, yes, do need to learn coding, that the jobs that most of our kindergartners will work in down the road don't even exist now because of how rapidly the world is changing. And certainly just making sure our kids have opportunities to learn. We need to focus, obviously, on STEM. We also need to make sure our children have a comprehensive education, understanding the forces and phenomena of the universe, understand the power of a liberal arts education, and realize where they fit in on the arc of world history. It's important. It gives us context, and we understand who we are. Let's make sure our kids have extracurricular opportunities. That their kids, regardless of income, have a chance to participate in basketball, football, and soccer, and highlight, whatever these kids want to do, but have the opportunity to remain active and make all these investments as much as we can early on in life, and you train up a child, and less and less of our children then run into trouble. So you have a chance to get our kids through the very difficult period of puberty that I went through, that you probably went through, that we all do. I'm convinced that there's an age group of all young men between 17 and 24 where I think we're just nuts, and we got to be protected from ourselves at times. So, but it's making good, strong, thoughtful, strategic investments as early as possible in our children. If we do those things, then we'll start being even more competitive on the world stage, because we are competing on a global level now, no longer just neighborhood to neighborhood or even city to city in South Carolina, even just here in this nation. We're competing with talent from all across the globe, and we got to act like it.
You talk about the world. Obviously, there's a lot of news going on, from particularly Washington. It's the government shutdown.
Yeah.
Actually, on January 7th, you said this quote: "Make no mistake, the impact of our prolonged shutdown will be felt on the local levels in several ways. The lack of federal funds will affect public safety, road repair, housing, and other essential services. Without a doubt, our residents, particularly the most vulnerable, will suffer." How is Columbia dealing with the shutdown right now in your mind?
But right now, I think everyone across the country is holding their breath. Obviously, there's a concentration on the D.C. area that's significantly affected. But any city that has an airport might be affected by, obviously, with TSA agents not being paid, and some having to call in sick because they have to go work other jobs in order to take care of themselves and their families. But we're about to get to a point where folks are not going to get their checks, and they're going to have to make rent payments or mortgage payments, where federal grants that are issued to local governments will start slowing down, not being dispersed, and they're going to affect our law enforcement agencies. In this city and all across the country, have federal money. And I'll say federal money. Federal money is actually our money that we sent to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
That we hope to repatriate. So this is taxpayer money. In roads projects, we have a road project on North Main Street that we're currently undergoing, that has a mixture of federal funds and the Tiger Grant, as well as some other federally appropriated funds and local funds tied up in there. So the idea that we would shut down our government for any reason, it just makes no sense to me. And we've got to be willing to sit down across the table like adults and make sure that we get the federal government back up and running. This is unacceptable.
I was interviewing Reverend Joe Darby for Quintin's Close-Ups yesterday, and I asked him, if you were sitting across the street, really across the table from President Trump, what would you say to him one-on-one?
I've had the opportunity to do that twice since the election 2016 with President-elect Trump, and then once this past year on an infrastructure meeting. And I shared with him a narrative that I thought was important for him to know, that so many great things that happen on the local level, that cities and metropolitan economies are driving the national economy, that the investment in infrastructure, we have a $4 trillion need in infrastructure to get us from a grade D by the American Society of Civil Engineers to where we need to be. $4 trillion. Of all the infrastructure that's being delivered in America, 80% of it is being delivered by state and local governments. And water and sewer, 98.5% state and local governments. Helping the president understand that probably the greatest bipartisan agenda we could work on together in D.C. is investing in infrastructure. Every $1 billion we spend puts 15,000 people to work, including people, some who've been outside of the economic mainstream, since they were very young. There's a real opportunity for us to work together on those issues that we should all be able to agree on. We want to make sure that our children have a chance to live up to their God-given potential, create an environment for Americans to continue to pursue the American dream, and we've got to be able to put politics aside to make that happen. I would urge the president to show leadership in this shutdown. Let's work together on the issues that we can work together on, that there's broad consensus on, unanimous consensus actually on some issues in the Senate and in the House. And things we disagree on, let's take those up one by one and vote them up or vote them down. That's what American democracy is all about. That's what's made this great republic strong for 250 years.
Let me take you back down the street to the South Carolina State House. Obviously, Governor Henry Maxwell was just sworn in for his first full term as governor. How do you want to work with him as mayor of Columbia?
I've known Governor Master for almost the entirety of my professional life. So always had a collegial, respectful relationship. There are some very important things that we need to see happening in our cities. Our state clicks really well on some fronts. We are strong in industrial recruitment. That's been the legacy of men like Fritz Hollings, who helped establish the technical college system back in around 1960, and served as the backbone of our recruitment efforts. Now has us number one in the country in terms of per capita foreign direct investment from European companies. We've been able to show some skill at recruiting tire manufacturers and other manufacturers, and even aerospace, of course, in the Charleston area. We've got to make sure that we're really preparing our citizens for the way in which the world's changing. We've got to make sure more and more jobs are being automated. So having an advanced manufacturing focus means that a lot of jobs will be going away. So we've got to make sure we're preparing our citizens in the city of Columbia and cities and towns all across the state to take advantage of the growing next economy. We've got to make sure we have more economic development tools that focus not just on industrial recruitment, but on cities. How do cities grow? We don't put a manufacturing plant in the middle of the city. So we've got to focus on vertical, dense urban development that goes straight up. But they're not tools on the books of our state code that facilitate that type of development. Okay. So we're gonna put some things on the table through our legislative delegation that we hope we can have the support of the governor in making a reality.
You talk about economic development. Of course, I haven't been here since 2015, but I've seen a lot of things happen here in the city of Columbia, from obviously Main Street to Bill Street. What is the future of those particular streets, in particular in the city of Columbia?
Great cities are built from the inside out. We have the benefit of having a good, strong, solid urban core surrounded by great neighborhoods. And in 15 minutes, you can be in the rural, fishing for bass, or hunting for boar, whatever it is that floats your boat. But they start with a great, vibrant Main Street that's walkable and bikeable. It's connected, has attractive retail experiences that people can enjoy. So we decided we would start on Main Street because we do believe that every citizen is bound emotionally to their Main Street. If Main Street's alive and vibrant, people feel the city's vibrant. If Main Street's dead, then people feel the city's dead. So we've been very fortunate to see hundreds of millions of dollars of investment on Main Street, on Bull Street, the new baseball stadium, and other commercial development out there. The Vista, which continues to be an entertainment hub. New development, 5 Points. Okay. So our goal has been really to connect all the dots and create this experience throughout Columbia that articulates that we're a new Southern hotspot, and we want to make sure people know it and they see it, they come and feel it.
That's so true. Obviously, you've been mayor here since 2010. What is the biggest difference between 2010 and right now when you think of you as mayor of Columbia?
Someone asked me that question recently, and you may remember my campaign slogan was One Columbia. Right. Really focusing on the fact that we were greater than the sum total of our parts, that when we work together across partisan lines, across racial lines, geography, the stratified, balkanized way in which we looked at the city as different neighborhoods, that was never going to be a strength, that we had to work together as one city with common goals, common destiny, a common future. If we were able to do that, then there was really nothing we couldn't accomplish together. The greatest, I'm not sure if I'd say success, but the thing I'm most proud of, most thankful for, is that we wanted to instill in our citizens and find, because it's inside every one of us, the true belief that this city could be a great city. We had a number of folks who we doubted ourselves. We weren't willing to tap into all the things that make the city great and recognize the strengths that we have, and not just in great roads and businesses, but in our parks, in our river, and a wonderful other attractions. A world-class zoo, the number one tourist attraction in the state is our zoo. It's not anywhere else in the state. Fantastic children's museum, largest in the South, State Museum, and just really helping people believe that this city could indeed live up to its full potential. And now we believe, and people love in their city, and they're excited about their city, and they feel that they're part of something that's happening. And once you do that, once you flip on that switch, and people see what the potential is, then you got something special. And I really believe that we're on fire right now.
Why do people believe in you?
I don't know, man. That's my mom. That she'll give you a day's worth of answers. You know, I believe people understand I have a heart for the city. That not just me, but my wife DeAndre and our girls, that we give to the city without any desire for any remuneration. We're not looking for anything. We love this city. We love working to make this a special place, so that all of our families, not just me and my wife and our girls, but so that every child and every other family similarly situated can have a chance to really live up to their God-given potential. And we put the time and effort and energy in. We try to listen to everyone. That's I think what makes this place really special, is that we realize that everyone, even people who come from different backgrounds, can still have the same hopes and dreams, and we try to make it very intentional to listen to people and try to make everyone's dreams a reality. So I don't know. I'm thankful. You know, got elected in a eight person race, and then reelected in a landslide, and then unopposed. You know, so hopefully that's an indication of the fact that people believe in the type of leadership we've been trying to offer the city.
You talk about listening. What are you listening to when it comes to the future of the city of Columbia?
I tell you, we are listening to so many different and disparate voices, and we tried to have a very clear focus in our role here at the city, and certainly the roles we've taken nationally on the three issues of infrastructure, focusing on innovation, and most importantly, I'd say on inclusion.
Okay.
Making sure that we're a city for all people. It speaks to the values of all people. That's what we'll listen to, and we're going to have a very active conversation this year in particular, talking about the power not just of diversity but also inclusive thought, and also what it takes to build kind and compassionate cities. And that's going to be a major focus of ours this year.
If I were to interview you for Quintin's Close-Ups 2 years from now, what would you tell me?
I would first start asking you how to walk was from the state capitol. No, we've got a couple of major projects that we're trying to both land and also build here. I'd love to talk about that. I'd love to be able, by that time we'll have some real data, some real evidence on some of the major infrastructure investments we've been making, particularly around green infrastructure. We just this past month, we issued the very first in the country green bond, certified by the Climate Bond Initiative, attacking the top 20 flooding locations in the city. So we are going to look at some areas that have historically flooded for the last century, and we're going to have heavy rains, and we anticipate that we will not see any flooding in those areas. So you think about the investment in building resilient cities and mitigating damage to people's homes and properties. Hopefully we'll have a great story to tell about that, and the way in which we did it with a green bond that also focused on inclusion, the types of firms that are involved in making it a reality. So that there's a whole lot going on that I think over the next 2 years we'll be able to report back on some successes we had.
I got to scrap that question and go politics on you. I've heard things that you may run for governor. You may go for a job in Washington. I know you'd like to write the vision and make it plain. How do you write your vision for the next 2 years?
Make it plain. Read it. Run with it.
And there you go.
You know, I'm a believer that I know, Quintin, that I am where I am. I've done what I've done purely by the grace of God. Unmerited mercy that He gives all of us, and so I know that regardless of the education I've been blessed to receive and other opportunities,
sure,
that I know that God has me where I am, and I'm a believer that if you're a good steward of what He's given you, then maybe He'll give you more. you know, I don't obsess on running for any additional offices.
Okay.
I have, if you talk to an 18-year-old Steve Benjamin, I have completely outkicked my coverage. I had no idea I'd be where I am right now, and I'm truly thankful. My job and my goals this year is to continue to make sure I keep my priorities in order, my relationship with my God, my role as a husband and a father, protect my mental, emotional, and physical health, do a great job for the people of Colombia, and then we'll see what comes next. I mean, this is going to be a very busy year, obviously with the presidential candidates coming through.
Sure.
Haven't decided what I'm going to do there yet, but once I decide who I'm going to support, then I'm going to get aggressively in support of that candidate, and we'll just see how things go. But I do know that if you continue to work hard, give it all you got, continue to be thankful, be prayerful, then good things happen. That's my belief.
That is so great to hear. Well, America's Mayor, Steve Benjamin, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
I was just saying you that.
Likewise.